The latest fight over access to abortion reached the Supreme Court today. This is the first time that the court has heard an abortion case since Justices Kavanaugh and Gorsuch joined the court. The fight is over a controversial Louisiana abortion access law that critics say will leave only one doctor in the state with the ability to perform the procedure. Demonstrators from both sides were out in full force today in front of the court. Take a listen.
I tell people that my abortion saved my life. Being in the clinic when I was experiencing a life-threatening ectopic pregnancy, they sent me to the hospital, and I just think back to that day, like had I not gone to an abortion clinic seeking an abortion, I may not be here to tell this story.
It's interesting to me, right, that there's anyone on the other side of this case, because it seems like a common sense idea, right, that if something goes wrong in an abortion procedure, then women should have access to full protection and care so that these women stay protected. And although we may not be agreeing with the fact that these women are getting an abortion, we still recognize that all women should be treated with dignity and should be protected in these cases that something goes wrong in Louisiana.
This isn't about abortion being legal, it's about women's safety, and we want women to be safe.
The facts are clear that this is not about protecting women's health. This is about restricting access to abortion.
NYU Law Professor Melissa Murray joins us now live with more. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So let's get our viewers up to speed and give us a sense of the specifics of the case that the judges heard today.
So this case comes from Louisiana. There is a law that requires physicians who perform abortions to have admitting privileges at hospitals that are 30 miles from the provider. The problem with this, according to those who support abortion rights, is that most women actually have to travel far distances to get to an abortion clinic in the first place. So when they do go home after an abortion procedure, they're actually far away from this particular hospital where the doctor might have admitting privileges. The other issue, they say, is that the doctors are unlikely to get admitting privileges because abortions are so safe that they're rarely ever going to fulfill the requirement of having to actually admit patients to the hospital. This law, abortion activists say, is really just a ruse to further curtail abortion access in Louisiana.
How far do most states normally go as far as regulating abortion, and how would this case change that potentially?
Well, states can do quite a lot to regulate abortion. The constitutional standard is that they may not impose a substantial obstacle on the path of a woman seeking an abortion, and no law can have the purpose or effect of placing a substantial obstacle in a woman's path. This case, though, would really force the states, if the existing law is upheld, to really show that their reasons for passing abortion legislation is intended to have more benefits than burdens on the women who will actually be affected by the law.
And what were the oral arguments like today?
Well, these were really interesting because this was a case where the state really held a lot of the cards, and many people thought that this was going to go very poorly for abortion providers, but in fact it was a quite hopeful day. The case began with some very pressing questions from Justice Alito about third-party standing, whether the physicians here were the appropriate persons to bring this case or whether this was better brought by abortion patients. But then it quickly shifted to the merits, where the liberal wing of the court really hammered the Louisiana representatives about whether or not this law was actually going to provide women with increased benefits that outweighed the burdens on abortion access.
And how will the changed composition of the court likely affect the outcome?
Well, the fact that this case is being heard at all suggests how much a difference a new justice has made on this court. This admitting privileges law that's at issue here is virtually identical to one that the court struck down in 2016 in Whole Women's Health versus Hellerstedt. In that case, it was a 5-3 decision with Justice Kennedy joining the liberal wing of the court. Of course, Justice Kennedy has since retired, and he has been replaced by Brett Kavanaugh, and Justice Scalia, who had passed away when that case was heard, has now been replaced by Justice Gorsuch. And those two justices seem to have more predisposition toward upholding this law and further limiting abortion access.
All right, before we let you go, I want to listen to those controversial remarks by Senator Chuck Schumer.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions.
You won't know what hit you. Wow. And so this actually prompted a rare response from the Chief Justice?
Yeah, so this is, I think, a very unusual statement. Most politicians, certainly a sitting senator, stays away from embroiling the court in politics. Here, Senator Schumer's staff said he was really only speaking about repercussions in the electoral process, but obviously those words could have many different messages. But Chief Justice Roberts, who I think understands himself to be the institutional steward of the court's legitimacy, really felt like this was a bridge too far. And of course, it comes on the heels of President Trump making statements about Justice Sotomayor and Justice Ginsburg just last week. So he took the unusual step of saying that this was just not suitable, and it's very much in line with his former statements about there being no Trump judges, no Obama judges, just federal judges doing their level best to interpret the law and interpret the Constitution.
All right, Melissa, thank you for interpreting the law for us tonight. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.